Hey, this is Benjamin Nelson, your Season 7 WSSR Cup champion. I'd like to give a thanks to Roasted Gems Coffee, Trophy Smack, all the admins at WSSR, Snowy Desert Racing, everybody that tunes in to the Freaky Fast broadcast every week, including my family and friends, co-workers as well. And I am so honored to be able to hoist this beautiful trophy. I've never been more proud to be a champion.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Wednesday night, giving you the coverage of WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series. It's Season 8, Race 7 in the books, officially entering the second half of the regular season. And drivers know it's crunch time. After last week's historic caution-filled race, drivers are prepared to get back to what they're used to, away from the new, back to Las Vegas, a track that has brought out a lot of quick, great racing action, but as well, with the hot heat, some quick tempers have risen on those races on top of it. Could tonight be similar? We'll have to find out and see, but tonight's going to be a good one. Las Vegas is the destination. The drivers are loving how this track is feeling under their cars, and they're prepared for it. So are we here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up the booth is going to be Justin Malarkey, and as well, Robert Moyer Jr. running productions in the background. Justin, last week we got to see Benjamin Nelson hold off Larry Yingling for the win last week at Kern County. Certainly a very caution-filled race, like I said, but hey, we're now back to what we're used to, mile-and-a-half cookie-cutter courses.
Yeah, we're back to 1.5 mile track, going to be multiple grooves. I know last week some of the drivers mentioned about it being hard to pass, but tonight they're going to have their choices: low, middle, high. You're going to see guys maybe get 3-4 wide in some of these corners. With the power in these cars going down a straightaway, the speeds are going to be reaching 200 miles an hour, and it's only a 1.5 mile track. It's going to be a great show tonight.
These drivers hitting 29 seconds to finish a mile and a half just by themselves. Then when they get in the draft, they're going almost to 28 seconds around this course. It is fast, and we're excited to give you the coverage here tonight. As the drivers are getting done with practice, we head down to trackside and get ourselves prepared for qualifying, where the drivers could be a big factor. Getting track position could be very key here tonight, especially with the way that this car is running. Tires are going to be important. The way that you can exit out of the corner is going to be important. But Justin, ultimately, surviving the exit of the corner seems to be the tough part that we've seen so far in practice.
Yeah, I personally went out there so I could log some laps, try and give myself some feedback to give to the viewers. It seems like the exit of turn 2 is a little tighter radius compared to turn 4. Seems like that could be a trouble spot tonight. Guys pushing through those corners, coming up out of there, carrying that speed, and they just go up and they kind of kiss that wall, and then before you know it, it gets the car bounced into the infield or into the back wall on the back straightaway, and that's where we could see some big-time action.
We could be seeing a lot of action. Drivers, I know last week, not happy with the amount of cautions. Like I said, a historic amount. It was the most ever in WSSR's history. Tonight, we're coming to a track where we had the least amount of cautions last season. Only one caution was brought out at Las Vegas. And if you look at the trends of this course, there's been times that there's been 0 cautions, 5, 3, 6, 1. It's pretty low numbers. We love to see that. And some new changes after last week. No more comp caution, so the drivers don't have to think about in the back of their mind, hey, there's a yellow coming, I need to be aggressive now. Instead, they think from the start of the race to the end, we could be staying clean and green. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, drivers are underway with qualifying. First driver on screen, it's going to be the 2 of Danny Cochran, trying to figure out how to maximize the speed, the momentum. And right now we're seeing it, Justin, the 2 in outside pretty quick. And that was something we were kind of touching on, and you brought up the exit of the corners. These drivers are really sending it.
Yeah, I really think with this car still being so new to so many of these drivers, you kind of have that feeling of the previous generation car with the big spoiler where you can carry that speed coming out of the corner. Even the next gens, those cars were just so underpowered compared to these. What do you want to call them? Beast of an engine, I would say. They just have so much power. You get into it and you get into the gas and it picks up the speed so much that you carry out of the corner and it just carries you high. It's not like those previous cars. You're going to see a different driving style tonight. Who can adapt the fastest, I think, is going to be those ones that are able to drive right to the front.
And also different tactics of how you want to maximize your speed. Some drivers, like said, searching, where do they want to go? Is it on the inside, going down to that white line, or is it ripping the wall where you can find the most amount of speed, or is it the middle? As currently, Zach Hall in the 32 machine, our fastest driver so far. Watkins Glen winner. Hey, showing some speed here in the mile and a half. Gotta love to see it. It's now we move on over to 31 of Kyle Heath, who's exiting out of turn number 231 on his last lap of qualifying. Can he get any further up? 12th currently on the board. It's been shuffling down. Ryan Kelly now moving up to second as Kyle Heath real quick close that outside wall off the exit down across the line. Was going to be down in 15th position, but advances up to second. What a lap by that 31 machine.
Wow, a 29.08. So close to the lead. Zach Hall sitting at a 29.040. Haven't seen anyone get down into the 28 range yet, but we did see it in practice, so we know it's possible out there, Zach. They're only going to have 2 laps, so they might not get enough heat in the tires to be able to hold that grip, but we got Brian McCann coming out here, and he's one who might be able to put down that kind of lap.
Brian McCann, certainly a driver to watch out for. The 8 machine coming off of last week, not the race that he was hoping for, as Douglas Newbiggie now going to advance up into second position. Still no one able to top and knock off the 32 machine of Zach Hall. As the 8 of Brian McCann hoping to find something a little bit special here. First lap going to be best up to 11 with a 29.139. We might have to see someone. Can they get into the 28s by themselves? Currently no one's been able to do it just yet, as the 8 of Brian McCann staying low, trying to get to that white line, but just above it by about a quarter of a car length. But exiting cleanly, keeping the speed on the apron, cutting that distance and across the line, hoping to find that little bit of something is Brian McCann, but it doesn't look like it's going to be good enough. Zach Hall still holding on strong, as there's a few other drivers in line that could try to steal this win. The driver that thought he was going to get a win last week, Larry Yingling, coming up second. Now, we're going to be starting all the way down in 31st and qualifying for that first lap, really protecting the tires, but aggressive here on his last lap of qualifying. The 67 from 32nd position, hoping to top the board and looking at it. Not good enough for the top, but good enough for a top 10, 6th for Larry Yingling.
Yeah, top 10 starting position. That's going to be nice. This way, you get in there, get a nice pit stall up front. Don't got to worry too much, hopefully, about getting caught up in any incidents in case there are some yellows under caution. You know, pit road could be challenging sometimes, so having a nice stall up front could benefit him. As we see James Heater out here right now on a lap. 29.040 is what he's going to be aiming for. First lap, 29.185. Good enough for 19th position. That just shows how close this field is, Sam.
A very good lap by James Heater, and that will be his second lap for the 18, as it's only going to be good enough for 19th position. And Alex Chase deciding not to qualify. I think the biggest surprise, gotta say, for all these drivers, they all put down very quick qualifying numbers. Zach Hall, 1 lap. Everyone else tried 2. The 32 only needed 1 lap, and it was his burner one that got him on top of the board.
That's impressive. Usually, I always needed at least a second lap to get some heat in those tires, but he's shown that he's knows how to have speed. That's his another pole here for him. 29.040. That's going to do it, as they're going to get ready to go do some warm-up laps now.
And with that, with seeing Zach Hall gain the pole, we saw it last week, the breaking of having different drivers for each race getting a win, and now we've got a first driver with multiple wins becoming Benjamin Nelson tonight. Now our first multiple-time pole sitter award winner going to go to Zach Hall. Congratulations on that. Here's our race analysis for tonight's race. It's going to be 150 laps this evening. The drivers are going to have 5 extra sets of tires in pit road to work with, around that of 42 to 43 laps on fuel. The drivers might be able to push it to 45 if they're conserving and in the draft, able to save that a little bit of extra fuel and no comp caution. I feel like, Justin, that's going to be one of the bigger things for the drivers. They don't have that in the back of their mind of, I got to worry about this lap, and it's a short distance. Instead, they're thinking of the race as a whole.
Yeah, and that could really bring some strategy into play with not knowing when that caution comes out. Do you pit early? We always see it seems like tire wear happens the most early in the race because the track's not rubbered up. It doesn't have the tires wearing out, kind of giving everyone that little bit of layer of extra rubber on the track. So sometimes it's nice to get in there a couple laps early pit, but then the risk, Sam, go in, caution does come out, you get trapped a lap down, and if it stays green the rest of the way, then you can't make up the positions if you're trapped a lap down. So it is something you got to be mindful of.
Yeah, you certainly do. Other things that drivers got to be mindful of as we take a look at our driver standings. We are officially into the second half of the season, and drivers that are around that blue cut line you see on the right side of our column, they are in trouble to watch out for. Brandon Colley, your cutoff driver, just inside of our top 16 in points, with Johnny Brugg, who was sadly missed out last week, now feeling well, hoping to see that machine out there on track running well this evening after he got good from his sickness. But some of the bigger movers from last week's race, Dakota Moniz up to 19th, 21st is John Force, both up 6 positions. Biggest loser, Cody Reed, bounced out of our top 16 after missing last week's race. He's going to need a good one here tonight if he wants to get back into the mix. Currently, during our warm-up times, 4th. But Justin, anyone that's kind of sticking out from this point standings picture before we take a look at the schedule of our final races of the regular season?
Well, sitting right there in 17th, you mentioned him, Johnny Brugg. We know he definitely has speed. Just unfortunately, when you miss a race, that could drop you. So he's going to be looking tonight to try and get those points back. And then we go down. I looking at Ross Tatum. I remember thinking back to my first race here on the broadcast with Freaky Fast. Ross Tatum, he was really bringing it to everyone at Daytona, and it just did not work out for him to be able to get the win. But he's going to try and need here to get some points, move back up there, and get back in these spots. You don't want to be looking too far out, as we know. We mentioned. We were talking about it earlier before this started. We're halfway through the regular season tonight.
And also, report on that of Ross Tatum, I believe, after last week's race, was deciding to call it a season. Was not happy with the way that his season had been going, not happy with last week's race. So I don't know if we're ever going to see Ross Tatum back out there this season, but calling it done. As we take a look at what the upcoming races are for this season, we're into race 7 of the schedule. We got a couple of more before we get into the playoffs, that being tonight in Las Vegas. Next week, we head to Legacy, Michigan, then Pocono, Martinsville, which Martinsville expected to be changed out after last week's race. No longer going to be having that short track. They're still trying to debate on what's going to be taking that course. Then head to Nashville Super Speedway before we finish off the regular season at Atlanta Super Speedway. It's crunch time. This is a good picture of tracks that we're heading to, Justin. I think a lot of people are excited because we're going back to more traditional racetracks that drivers are used to running.
Yeah, I think this car really does suit some of those traditional racetracks. I'm actually really excited to see the Atlanta Super Speedway with these cars and how it works with the draft package. They have so much power, yet Atlanta Super Speedway is going to be a little bit smaller than what we're used to with Daytona and Talladega, so it could put on some really interesting racing. I've never seen a race on this type of car at that track, so I'm looking really forward to that.
I'm crossing my fingers on it, mainly because I was the one who kind of pitched it out. I thought we were going to see that race last season. Instead, we went to the older configuration of Atlanta, where it was all the rough and tumbled. For the new Atlanta, I'm excited for it because, again, Super Speedway racing with this car, so difficult and the handling. It's going to be a fun one to finish off the regular season. But tonight, we are at Las Vegas. This track is going to be hot, slick, and the drivers are expecting it to be a handful. But they're lucking out because the weather that they're picking for tonight's race is similar to real life, and that means we are in that winter in the desert, so it's luckily cooler than it usually would be, and it's going to be 69 degrees Fahrenheit. 77 was during the warm-up, but the track temps getting pictured moving around. It's going to be 76 currently as they sit gridding up for tonight's race. It's going to be an interesting thing to watch out for. And how's the wind going to be affecting this race as the drivers are dealing with 10 plus miles per hour wind, and it continues to fluctuate up and down so far. As the drivers again said it, they're gridding up. So let's take a look at our qualifying results, sponsored by Colley's Mom. Colley's Mom, always hoping to see that one machine with a great starting position. And tonight, sadly, it wasn't the greatest of qualifying runs for the one. We're not going to be seeing them for a while. Instead, it's Zach Hall grabbing his second pole this season, and Douglas Newbigin going to be in second place, starting off our front row. Kyle Heath in third, with Brian P. Johnson fourth. John Forbes going to be in fifth place. Sixth, we'll be starting with the 67 of Larry Yingling, our two-time winner this season, a winner from last week. Benjamin Nelson in seventh. Ryan Kelly in that 3 machine in eighth. Ninth is going to be newcomer. We're going to be seeing that of Bryson Hickenbaugh, who's going to be out there in the 63 for their debut race. Shane Darian's going to be finishing out our top 10. And over to you, Justin, for the rest of our top 20.
Rolling off. 11, Nick Crawford and Cedric Hunter alongside. Brian McCann in 13th, followed by Isaiah Sutherland in 14th. Anthony Gaudio, who did have lay down a pretty fast speed in practice, starting P15, and Brian Noel, P16. Danny Cochran over in 17th alongside Ollie Fonseca. 19th, going to be James Heater, who we were watching qualifying earlier, and Johnny Brugg alongside him. And 21st, I'll give it to you, Sam, for a shout out to Brandon Colley's mom.
Well, Brandon Scully's mom always wants to see the pole, and there's a 1 there, but it's the 21st position. We're going to be seeing the 1 machine of Brandon Colley. Christopher Wade going to be down in 22nd position. Cody Reed in 23rd. Christopher Norris back in 24th. 25th is Cameron Sarton. Ken Campbell going to be starting in 26th, with Brad Delphin 6 machine in 27th. 28th is Chris Stitz in 17. Joshua Corner in 29th and in 22. Ben Keeney in 30th position. Tyler Dangler in 31st. Dakota Moniz in 32nd. And finishing out our 33 drivers here tonight, going to be Alex Chase. A few drivers having to start in the end of the line, Going to be the 7 of Cedric Hunter, as well as Isaiah Sutherland, and is going to be the 28 machine sent to the back. As the field is ready, so are we. Pace car into pit road. It's time for 150 laps here at Las Vegas. Green flag is in the air, and it's time to go 1.5 mile racing. And then the Gen 4 car, as the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series roars down into turn number 1.
Turn number 1, you're going to see them 2x2. Plenty of room here to run 2x2. They're going to stay that way probably for a while here, Sam. I'm thinking they're going to hit this back straightaway, and they're just going to start building that speeds up. 190, 195, 198, 200 miles an hour. These engines are going to be screaming all night. We're going to bring you views from the inside of cars. You're going to be hearing those engines get 95, 9600 RPMs. It's going to be a great night here as we've already got 1 lap down, 29 seconds gone.
And just like that, Larry Yingling going to take that lead position. Zach Hall's going to fall down to battling for second. Rest of the field staying side by side. And the big thing I was hearing from some drivers, they felt comfortable with this setup. Felt a little bit more snug. Yes, with the high horsepower, you're always going to feel out of control if you're full throttling through the corners. But there's a lot more stability, and it's going to allow drivers to make a lot more bolder moves, as you see a little bit of an inkling of 3 wide as the 77 drops back in line. But this close, compact pack racing, expect a lot of it this evening. Christopher Wade, update for the drivers in the back, starting from pit road, as well as Joshua Corner and Alex Chase. 30 drivers took the official green as we see side-by-side racing in the wall that's building up from all the drivers' fifth on back.
Yeah, we're seeing them start to slowly get to single file in the first couple positions, but still plenty of racing here side by side in the middle and back of the field. But one thing that we're going to have to keep an eye on is inside, middle, outside line. We're going to see drivers probably moving around all throughout the race as the tires change and the tires wear out. But right now we're seeing drivers look like they want to choose the bottom, but we're also seeing them run right in the middle, so it's going to be something we're going to keep an eye on throughout this night. As we see the 11 get a little loose there, Sam.
Just touched the apron, got it slightly out of control, and luckily was given space by Benjamin Nelson to recoup and salvage that machine. Could have been a very bad mess. As the drivers on the inside lane, they are starting to check up, and this is the danger zone. The Gen 4 car has shown signs of drivers able to make some contact in the rear bumper, the front bumper, make a tap. We could be seeing a wreck, and let's try some 3 wide racing. Benjamin Nelson on the inside, John Forbes in the middle, Kyle Heath on the outside, and Heath gets the better run as they single file out off the exit of turn 2, just showing how quick they can be in very tense situations to back to smoothness in line with one another.
Yeah, when we're seeing just how fast these drivers are, it just seems like these laps are flying by here already. We're already 5 down. It just goes so fast, this track. 29 seconds, we were talking about it in qualifying, and we're going to see speeds fall off a little bit as the tires wear out, and we're going to really see who can take care of their equipment. But right now, it's just follow the leader up front. They're trying to get single file, not making too much moves here, Sam. Maybe taking care of everything as we get here with lap 6 already completed.
There's a few drivers that have decided to back out of, calming themselves. There's others that have been very aggressive, and up front, in our top 4, there are 2 drivers that are on the move and not waiting for anyone. Shane Terrian and Brian Noel both climbing through the field quickly. Shane Terrian up 8 positions, moving up into 2nd. Brian Noel in 4th is up 12 spots. Those are your biggest movers at this time. And talking about tires, I don't think they're worried about tires at this moment.
Yeah, Shane, driving from 10th to 2nd. I mean, that's so impressive. He pretty much passed the car every lap for the way he was out there. He's just ripping that bottom right now. He's able to carry the speed, and he's just coming out a little bit lower out of the corners. He's just got the car sticking right now. He's under half a second behind Larry, so we're going to see right now if he's got that cleaner air passing all these guys, if he can get it. You can see right here, Sam, he's just being able to hold the bottom, and right here he's going to tuck up, get that draft, pull it down the straightaway, and just get ever so slightly closer to Larry. He's going to get close enough that he's going to eventually maybe put some pressure on him.
I mean, for Shane Terrian, was a little bit concerned on what the pace was going to look like just based off of how practice was rolling. Got his first couple laps in on seeing how the car was going to react this evening, and was in the middle to the back half of the pack initially, and started to figure out the race pace of the 9.1.5, but always impressive when we watch and ride on board Shane Terrian, mainly because a lot of the drivers out here run with a steering wheel and pedal system for themselves. Well, because we're on the virtual side, Shane Terrian, one of the very few drivers that can be very fast and running with a controller.
Yeah, that's really impressive. I've never personally done it. I'm not sure how it would work, but it's just a different type of style, and he's able to figure it out, and he makes it work for him, and that's what's impressive. And that's what's great about this system is it brings adaptability. You don't have to have the wheel, you don't have to have the pedal, you just have to have the knowledge to know how to drive the car and figure it out, and he's able to do it. And we've seen him do it week in and week out.
So drop back to the 13, Cedric Hunter. Look at the Las Vegas stats. This 13 has circled around a lot of the stats at this track. Won the inaugural race here at Las Vegas back in season 1. Then in season 5, had a great battle between himself as well as Bradley Johnson, Collie, Zach Hall, and Vincent Sora back in season 5. Two-time winner for those 2 races. A two-time winner after winning season 3 and season 5. He led the most laps back in season 1, but the 13 has been strong. This is one of their stronger tracks here tonight, and for that pink machine, the Hello Kitty of Cedric Hunter, trying to continue to move forward as Benjamin Nelson, Kyle Heath, and John Forbes still can't get away from one another.
No, and that's something that might be hard to do with the way these tracks works, with the grooves, drivers being able to go wherever they want. They kind of just go in the corner and they fan out, but down the straightaway they come right back together. We are seeing them get a little single file, but then in the corners they just fan right out. It seems like some of these drivers are trying to get to the outside of these guys and hold them off down on the corner and pinch them down a little bit. We saw Cedric Hunter do that to Zach Hall about 2 laps previous, and it looks like right now Benjamin Nelson's trying to do that to Zach Hall in the next corner. If he just get to his outside, but he's going to go underneath him here in this corner, it looks like, Sam.
Trying to make moves all throughout the field. Other drivers that are trying to make go forward. Anthony Gaudio up 3 spots. Ali Fonseca in front of the 29 machine up 7. As Brian McCann, one of those stronger drivers, on move a lot of the field, just trying to figure out where they're feeling the most comfortable around one another. But at this time, looks like that 29 is looking good for himself. Ken Campbell, also a few drivers making some powerful moves forward.
Yeah, we're really getting into a nice race here where we're seeing guys move up through the field that started back a couple positions, being able to pass 7 or 8 cars here early in the race. That's really impressive. It's really showing that you're able to pass at this track, which is something we really want to see. We want to see these cars be able to run different lines and be able to pass, because that's what drivers want. This is a driver's track, and right now these drivers are being able to put on a show. We're seeing guys move all throughout this field, and we're only 15 laps into this race.
We're seeing the drivers squeezing on one another. Nick Crawford, Anthony Gaudio, they are drivers that have raced around one another for a few seasons, even on Monday night. In the ISRC Truck Series, they will be seeing the ISRC Truck Series coming back for another season, starting in February. We're going to be seeing past champions who can get it done. All going to be John Ford's most previous winner is, oh boy, huge save by Anthony Gaudio there through the exit of turn 4.
Wow, what a save. You saw him just get loose there. It looked like there could have been some slight contact and maybe in the middle of the corner, but luckily the driver right behind him did check up and let Anthony save that car. We're going to have to check in on that one because that was really interesting, but that was a great job saving that car. These cars have so much power, and he was able to turn right and not overcorrect it, and we stay green here right now, and we're in lap 16, so this is starting to feel like maybe a green race here, Sam.
They are certainly are trying to stay green as much as they can. And we also know the power that we've been wielding here on Wednesday nights throughout this season. You never know what can happen, especially with moves right there, as you also have a few drivers really trying to march their way through the field. Starting deep in the field is going to be the 14 of Isaiah Sutherland, as well as the 28 of Brian P. Johnson, and the 7 of Douglas Newbigging, all coming off of penalties based off of last week because of either marker breaks, being involved with too many incidences, or just reckless driving coming to the end of our Kern County race. As if you watched last week, it was an explosion that happened coming out of turn 4 to finish out the race. And a lot of these drivers, with those penalties, have to start at the end of the line. They're trying to march their way forward, as we're going to be going 3 wide with Heath, Sutherland, and Newbigging trying to survive, and it's the 14 that's on the move.
14 on the move, making passes, trying to get back up into the top 15, just getting close to it. One thing I've been watching, though, Sam, it seems like at the end of these straightaways, some guys are maybe lifting a spec early, getting into the corner, letting the car get stable, and then you see guys kind of duck right underneath them really quick, and it made my heart skip a beat or two. I thought they were going to dive bomb underneath him, and then the other guy was going to turn on him. Something we're going to keep an eye on as the race goes on, but right now these drivers are keeping it clean, but something I definitely want to bring to attention of everyone watching.
Good to see Douglas Newbigging diving it down low, trying to get by Isaiah Sutherland as these two drivers continue to slide back and forth. But that's an interesting point that you bring up on the fact that it looks like drivers are backing off sooner. Again, the fuel window that we were given by the drivers around 42 to 43 laps was the window that we're expecting a lot of these drivers to go if they're going full bore. And if they're backing off early, it could be a sign the drivers are trying to turn this race into a 2-stop if we stay green to the end of the race.
Yeah, it's early, but that's really something you're right about. We talked 43 laps we thought was the window, but this is a track where you really can save fuel, because as the tires wear, you are going to have to lift. If you start lifting just 5-10 feet sooner, maybe even clutch at a spec, all of a sudden, before you know it, you're saving 4 or 5 laps of fuel. I personally have done it. I know it's possible. We've seen it happen at Texas earlier in the year. If guys can get to lap 50, then lap 100, and then 150 doesn't matter when you cross the line. You run out then, it does not matter. You could park it, it's still a win. It does not matter. You don't have to do the burnout. So really, if this stays green, it could be something worth noting.
Also something worth noting, we talked about how tires are going to be important. Well, we're seeing it on screen. Drivers are starting to lose the rear end just slightly. Newbigging and Anthony Gaudio hold on, but for the lead, there's also been a switch up. Ryan Kelly takes the lead, able to get by Larry Yankling, and Ryan Kelly looking strong for the 3 machine. Zach Hull is putting the pressure after saving his tires. Everyone that was being patient early on, they're starting to gain those positions back and showing to be some of the fastest drivers on track currently.
Okay, I'm starting to feel really good about Zach Hall then. In the beginning, when he started first and dropped back to 6, I was a little worried if he just maybe had the qualifying pace, but he took care of his stuff like you mentioned, Sam. Now he's methodically worked his way back up. Now he's starting to peek under there. Maybe he can start looking to make a move on the 3, put some pressure on him. We saw him, looks like he held the corner a little bit lower than Ryan Kelly right there, which really means that the car's driving exactly how he wants here, right in the middle of the run. Lap 23, halfway through the fuel run, tire run, and he's there. Look at him, Sam. He's able to get down to that bottom and just come out of the corner nicer.
Yeah, looking a lot more smooth. Not really seeing that rear end wiggling as much. And we're seeing the rear end wiggling. That means the driver is putting that car right on the edge, and they are on the edge of being completely out of control. We're seeing a lot of the contenders that we're used to seeing up front, and others trying to make their march forward as someone's having some issues. That's on the outside through 1 and 2. The 99 of Cameron Sarton falls quickly to the end of the line, gets into the outside wall. Trouble early for a driver that looks so strong, and it looked to be just a simple mistake. It's into the outside wall on the entry of the corner all on his own. That's a tough mistake to be made, especially due to the fact that we stay green.
Yeah, that's so hard. It's just mental focus, one split second. It happens to all of us. These cars are such a handful to drive. Before you know it, you just kind of kiss that wall, and then it just makes the car miserable to drive when you crunch those fenders in. So we see it happen potentially there to Brandon Colley. Just a little kiss on the wall coming out of the corner, just ever so slightly. Doesn't look like it was too hard of contact. He's able to keep it going, as we still have the battle up front under a tenth of a second now.
It's close all around. Great battles. Here's Cody Reed, Brandon Colley, Christopher Norris. These drivers battling for 23rd position. And the small little pack scattered all around. The driver that's lost the most positions after having the biggest gain, 17th place, Brian Noel. He was once battling inside of our top four. Now is falling back to the middle of the field. Big mistakes for himself. And also saw there Brian P. Johnson on a recovery run to start the end of the line after last week's penalty. We're seeing the drivers that push so aggressively in the first 10 laps. They are hurting for grip off the exit of the corners now, 27 laps in.
Wow, and this race just makes me really feel like old school NASCAR that I grew up watching. Reminds me of Atlanta back in the day with these types of cars where you see guys start 4th and before you knew it they were 18th, and you see someone start like Bobby Labonte in 30th and he'd be up in the top 5 before you knew it. It's really showing that if you take care of your equipment, you can really move. We mentioned all these drivers moving around, some falling forward, some going backwards. As we see that car right there just get a little sideways coming out of the corner to 77, just ever so loose coming out of the corner. These cars are becoming a handful to drive.
Yeah, and this is kind of what we saw a lot from Brian Noel last season, where there was a lot of the tracks where there was a lot of wear and tear. He was aggressive early on, and then the aftermath as he slams the outside wall. Just there's no grip for the 77 anymore, as everyone else is able to keep their momentum and throttle up. The 77, on the other hand, is just bracing for impact every time he exits the wall, just chasing the car. And luckily that go around didn't make contact, but that is looking tough for the 77, who continues to fall back now down to 20th place. But driver that's cracked into our top 10 and has been there all night long in 9th place. Newcomer. We got the 63 of Bryson, who, you know, getting new drivers into the league, it's always an exciting thing to see. But Ixenbon looking good in the 63 currently. Look to be new driver, new threat maybe to watch out here on WSSR.
Yeah, and he's got that nice green paint scheme, which makes it easy to find on a broadcast. I always personally love having that. Makes it nice. People can see in the field, no problem. But he's doing what he needs to. He's getting down to that bottom, able to control the car, and he just looks like he's able to maybe march through this field as time goes on. He's just starting to figure out how these drivers are, but the car just looks like he's driving it really good. Just doing what he needs to do. Get it to the bottom and able to hold his own.
Yeah, and having one of those races where you're seeing drivers just take it easy and try to just, you know, settle in. When you're a new driver joining a new league in the middle of the season, that is such a tough thing to come into, because all the other drivers know each other's tendencies. You're the new guy. You got to figure out everyone else's tendencies and figure out how to react properly. And right now, looking good is the 63 machine, but in front of him, one driver that's struggling, 3rd place runner, Shane Tarian, getting a little bit loose off the exit of turn 2 and continues to show signs of weakness. Is the 9 and the 67 that both find themselves in 4th and 5th position.
We know Shane started 10th, and he was lap 7, I think, running 2nd position. We were talking about how impressive that was, but maybe just pushed a little too hard. He's going to have to put that in the memory bank, because right now, falling back, and he's kind of stuck on that inside, which now these cars are really, they're up their draft, and they're going to get a run down here. I mean, he's really going to drop a couple positions here potentially, but that doesn't mean that race is over for him. He knows he's got the quick short run speed. If he could just maybe make that last a little bit longer, he's going to be able to regroup. Pit stops will be coming up here in potentially 15 to 20 laps, and he'll be able to bolt on new ones and go. As we see the newcomer going down below the apron, trying to get a position here over Brian McCann.
Hey, it's fair to be down there. There's no rule that says you cannot go on the apron here at Las Vegas, and you're cutting down that distance, allowing you to make some bigger moves and turn the corner. The only problem is you got to make sure that you have plenty of space to get back on the racing surface with that more shallow entry into these corners. As Brian McCann now into the mix, as well as Ixenbach making their move forward. And they got to be careful also, because if you're used to a driver going down on the apron on the front stretch and you assume they're going down there, we could see collisions of drivers misjudge or misanalyze when they're going to be making some big moves.
Yeah, that's something you see happen at Phoenix with the dog leg now. Drivers go down, sometimes they don't, and it just creates a headache here. It could also be the same problem. That's a great point to bring up, Sam. One thing I did want to mention is now with Zach Hall, he's got it back under 2/10. It was almost 4/10 a couple laps ago, but about 8 laps ago we were watching up front. It looked like he was going to make a move. He was going to the bottom. We were talking about how good it was, and all of a sudden then he went to the top. And then when he went to the top, Ryan Kelly went to the top too, kind of threw that dirty air on him, did a great job at throwing the block, defensive driving, and then he started pulling away. So maybe that was a move we'll have to watch later if Zach's able to figure that out and how we can maybe manage, predict where Ryan Kelly's going to go to get back around him. But something we'll see throughout the night is drivers looking in their mirror and potentially trying to see if they're going to go inside, outside, whoever's behind them and throw that block, get that dirty air on them.
Shocking to see some drivers making some early pit stops, and it's not, for some drivers they might be aiming to turn this race into a 2-stop. Others might be making that audible and knowing, hey, we're going to make a 3-stop race out of tonight's 150 lap run at Las Vegas. Might as well use up our tires, come to pit road, use up the tires aggressively again, and just hope that strategy is the faster way to go, as Brian Noel and Ben Keeney both going to be hitting pit road to get service done for both of them, 4 tires and fuel. As the rest of the field, they still circle an aim to try to hit lap 50.
Yeah, that is a good strategy. Race stays green, that could work because even getting those fresher tires, you're going to gain that time back. And if other people have to lift and start really slowing down to conserve fuel, it might not matter if you hit that early, because you're going to make that time up just by being able to go full throttle out there versus lifting over the course of 3 potential pit stops. As we see Ryan.
As we're down below on the apron, it's going to be Ben Keeney over the radio letting people know, hey, staying low, letting the field go on by. Going to be allowing the field to drive on by as the 98 gets up to speed. As the rest of the field settling into a comfort zone. Danny Cochran, 13th position. Starting to close in on this front pack. Going to be, quote unquote, kind of the second group, but closing in on at least the front runners as the 2 and the 74 latched forward. And also into pit road, it's the 8 and the 74 drivers are making pit stops here on lap 38. And the 3-stop strategy is a gamble that drivers are willing to take.
Yeah, right now we're seeing guys that came in about 2 laps ago. Now we're seeing more come in at 40. We're probably going to see a bunch more come in when the next maybe 5 laps. That's probably where you see the most of the group come in that 40 to 45 range. And you're probably going to have a couple guys who maybe do that strategy we mentioned, trying to save fuel and make it a 2-stop race, pull off a Nick Crawford Texas-style victory. But we see more cars coming in. The newcomer coming into pit road, making sure he gets down below 55 miles an hour. No speeding here, Sam.
Drivers going 165 have to drop that speed limit down very quickly, down to 50 miles per hour. And Zach Hall taking the lead as we're talking about pit stops going on. Ryan Kelly falls into 3rd, and the field making the stop. And I'm curious if maybe that call I was throwing out of maybe drivers were thinking about going for the 2-stop. Not even a question. Everyone seems to be making the call. We're pushing as far as we can with the fresher tires, but a 3-stop is the way to go as more drivers hit pit road now on lap 40. And pit road's getting a little bit chaotic because so many drivers are entering pit roads. Got to make sure that no one makes any contact with one another. But Zach Hall leads the way, and our top 11 still yet to hit pit road.
Yeah, top 11 not in yet. Zach Hall, though, leading this race, but Ryan Kelly did decide to go in, get that undercut. He might come out now with the lead, but Zach's going to come in too. He doesn't want to give up too much time as we're on board right here. He's going to get it slowed down, whoa it up, looks great. Great entries. We see a lot of guys following him right behind. Looks like maybe 7 of them coming in right behind him, Sam.
And they are stacked, and this is a dangerous thing. If you are stacked with a driver to your inside or to your outside and you need to enter pit road, you could be finding yourselves running into one another, trying to pull into your box if you're not communicating or looking around and reacting properly. But everyone hits pit road. The only driver still out on track, Cody Reed, needing to hit pit road is the 52 as they continue to stay out. And Cody Reed, one of the interesting drivers, again, outside. Oh no, he locks it up. Able to keep it off the pit wall and slows down inside. That might have been one of the more aggressive pit entries that works out, Justin.
I have no idea how he saved that, but I can't wait to talk to him because that was interesting. I mean, he had to come in maximizing speed. That looked like some of the old school all-star qualifying that they used to do when they used to have no pit speed coming in there. That was something impressive. He was just coming in. He turned left and made that car stick Wow, what a time saver that was.
That was impressive by Cody Reed, and no penalty going to be grabbed by the 52 machine. Instead, gifting the lead to the 8 of Brian McCann, one of the sooner drivers to hit pit road, and deciding the undercut was the strategy call. And right now, it's working out. The 8 up front, leading some laps and getting those bonus points. What a run. Well, if you're just joining us, these drivers, they went with a change after last week's chaotic race at Kern County, deciding to remove the comp cautions so we can go clean and green if possible. And we'll see if the drivers can stay green. We've been so far staying green for 44 laps. And I think for us, we're going to take our first commercial break of the evening. It looks like the 3-stop is the strategy, as after pit road cycle is done, here's where our top 5 drivers run with Brian McCann, Brian Kelly, Nick Crawford, Bryson Hicksonbaugh, as well as Benjamin Nelson. Thank you for joining with us. You're watching Las Vegas Racing for the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series. We'll be back right after this for more racing action.
Hey, this is Benjamin Nelson, your Season 7 WSSR Cup champion. I'd like to give a thanks to Roasted Gems Coffee, Trophy Smack, all the admins at WSSR, Snowy Desert Racing, everybody that tunes in to the Freaky Fast broadcast every week, including my family and friends, co-workers as well. And I am so honored to be able to hoist this beautiful trophy. I've never been more proud to be a champion.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series action on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We're watching Las Vegas for the Gen 4 cars. They got done with their first pit cycle. We've been clean and green all the way through. Drivers made the decision. They do not want to comp caution anymore for the rest of the season, and it is worked out to clean up the racing, it seems like, as the field has been clean and green for 53 laps so far. And after that pit cycle, it was Brian McCann with the lead, but for how long? As Ben Keeney into the wall, and you know what? We talked about maybe he was going to jinx it, and almost did there, as Keeney holds it together, but spooks the rest of the leaders for a quick moment, and we're able to stay clean and green, and we'll hopefully stay clean and green, as we got to do a couple of shout outs at this time as we're past lap 50. Huge thank you to the amazing sponsors that help out the WSSR. First and foremost, to Collie's mom, who sponsors our qualifying results, and our title sponsor, Roasted Gems Coffee. Start your day off right with getting some of the best premium coffee out there. Plenty of different blends to select from Roasted Gems Coffee. Remember to go to roastedgems.com and use the promo code WSSR for 5% off. Elevate your coffee experience with Roasted Gems Coffee. And Trophy Smack. Trophy Smack is a great place to go if you want to find yourself getting your trophy, be the envy of your competition. As right now, Ryan Kelly is being the envy of Brian McCann, making the pass on the outside. But if you'd like to get yourself your own trophies with fantasy football done, there's plenty of other sports that maybe people are looking for trophies for. Trophy Smack's got you covered. Championship belts and more as Kelly gets into the wall and holds on for now. Spooks Brian McCann. Woo! These guys are getting wild with their speed, but this is fun racing to watch. But hey, remember to go to trophysmack.com. Use the promo code WSSR CUP. That's WSSR Cup for 10% off on all items. Okay, we'll get away from that. We'll get away from jinxing. We'll get back to talking about the racing. Ryan Kelly takes the lead, but for how long, Justin, is going to be the big factor, because everyone's starting to catch the 8 and the 3.
Right before we went to commercial there, it was about 1.5 seconds. Then he got it down to 7/10. Then he took the lead. But how long, Sam? Benjamin Nelson moving up through the field. We know he's going to be fast. He's moving up. Zach Hall was our leader right before the pit stops, but now back to 4th. Under a second, though. These guys are all going to be up here battling really soon. This is just such a great, tremendous race to watch, to broadcast. The viewers have to be going crazy just watching it. There's action everywhere as we go on board here, Sam.
Going on board with Benjamin Nelson, setting up the pass. Where to go on the 8 machine of Brian McCann? It's going to be the big question for Benjamin Nelson. Does he go high? Does he go low? Aims for the white line. And that's where the grip level has been for the fresher tires. And it's about a 2-lap difference between the 79 and the 8. And you can just see the exit of the corner. So much more confident. But Zach Hall, who's got the freshest rubber, testing the wall. What speeds up there? Well, you're going to see as we ride on board with the 32, so much more momentum than the 2 drivers ahead of him. And now he just has to pick and choose which lane is going to be able to make the pass first. And he'll try to sneak through the middle, pushing McCann up.
Wow, you saw that run, ladies and gentlemen, from the outside. So much speed carrying down that straightaway. Had nowhere to go with them being 2x2, but splits it going in the middle. Now he's got one driver left in front of him, Benjamin Nelson. Can he get around him before Nelson gets to Ryan Kelly? We might have a 3-way battle up here with the drivers just putting on such a show. The different strategy on tires, pitting a lap too early, getting the undercut, not doing the undercut. So much strategy, so much to talk about, Sam. This race is incredible. We're on lap 60. We're almost halfway through. Caution free. We're not going to jinx it, though. Here we go.
Hey, if we keep on saying jinx, maybe it will happen. And I tested the fate yesterday when we were covering the Doghouse Racing League Daytona 300, and they will cool off and not try to jinx anyone here this evening. Zach Hall, though, trying to set up to make the pass here on the 79, and it's been fun to watch. And now, under our commercial break, there were a few drivers that we went back to check to see what happened to them. Christopher Wade was not even able to make the start of the race. He started from pit road. Main reason why, he had some internet connection issues that looked like mechanical issues for the 53. His race is done. Alex Chase as well, calling it a done day for the 54 after just running 3 laps. Just didn't have the speed that he wanted. And some other drivers just in their own spaces. See Tyler Dangler in his own world, calming down as he knows with all this chaos, it might be safer to be back by yourself. Here's Brad Delph as well, but we got to go back up to front because our top three, they're all within 3/10. It's go time, and Zach Hall diving it down low, Nelson in the middle, and Ryan Kelly, the sitting duck, in the lead.
Wow, what a battle. One thing right there to 32, if you saw that little twitch on the car, it was turns 1 and 2 notorious for having some bumps on that lower lane. About 3/4 of the way through the track, through the corner, is where you see those bumps, and it happened to the 32 there. Just that little twitch just upsets the car. I mean, we like being on the bottom, definitely quicker, shorter way around, but Zach Hall, we saw him before make that outside work, but right now he's just going to run the middle through this corner.
Setting up, how do you want to go for this pass? And Ryan Kelly, I think he's doing exactly what is needed. Run the middle, run the outside lane. Those are the defensive lines to keep the most momentum as possible with this car this late into a run. All of these drivers, 20 laps on the rubber, and now any advantage that you had practically starting to equal up because of how aggressive we saw Zach Hall and that of Benjamin Nelson trying to push forward. Their tires are starting to equal up with where Ryan Kelly's at, because Kelly didn't have to work his tires as aggressively to get that lead position because he went with the undercut decision. And Justin, I'm curious if maybe that's why we're seeing the little bit of a stall out right now from Nelson, and Zach Hall recognizing he needs to make this pass now.
Yeah, see, these two battling right here is what Ryan Kelly wants to see. Doing that undercut, getting the lead, he's able to drive the car like he wants, get it floated into the corner, get it down to the bottom or the middle, wherever he wants to run. He doesn't have to stress the tires. Right now, Zach Hall, he's putting some stress on those tires, trying to get completed by this pass. Every lap that goes by that he can't do it, it's just another lap of having to drive the car a little bit harder, heat those tires up a little bit more, knocks off a little bit of wear, and that's just not what you want for the long run. But again, you have to be able to pass, you got to be able to do that. But Benjamin Nelson doing what he needs to do on the outside, just hold him off, steady, coming out of turn 4, heading to the start-finish line.
Hit your marks and hope that you're pointing straight still, as the drivers that did try the undercut, hitting sooner than everyone else. Well, crazy to say it, with a commercial break and the reads, we're already 10 laps away from seeing drivers starting another pit cycle. 3 pit stops here tonight is the window that we're looking at after how early all these drivers came to the pit road. Something I also want to look at as the track gets a little bit dimmer is the weather. How is the weather changing for these drivers as it is starting to cool down, but the track temp has risen. It was around 76 when they started pacing. It's now up to 81 degrees Fahrenheit, as well as the actual ambient temperature up to 70. So these drivers, hey, the track, if it heats up anymore, they might be seeing that tire wear get a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, the track heating up, but you're also seeing the track get darker just from the tire wear, like you mentioned. If you go back, a lot of people like to rewatch these broadcasts because they know we're such great speakers up here, Sam. They love listening to us. They're going to go back and they're going to see how gray that track was in the beginning, and then they're going to see how it gets darker and darker as the race goes on. If we had a side-by-side photo, you would see the difference, and that just adds different grip to these tires. Maybe it makes the drivers drive a little harder into the corner, a little looser coming out of the corner. Just changes the way these cars drive. Is that variable effect that iRacing built into the system. It just makes it really fun to be out there driving these cars.
As we look in the middle of the pack, some drivers still in recovery mode. As we got Johnny Brugg, Brian P. Johnson, Danny Cochran. Again, Brian P. Johnson, part of a collective of drivers that had to start at the end of the line. The highest mover of those that got sent to the end of the line is Douglas Newbiggie in 8th place. Brian P. Johnson making his way forward, a driver that's had opportunities to win here at Las Vegas, but yet to do so in the WSSR. One of the racetracks, the most winged driver of the series would love to notch on his belt and say, hey, I won another race. How many more do I need to grab before I won every racetrack here in the WSSR?
Yeah, no better feeling than that. We see a little puff of smoke out of there, out of the 2, Danny Cochran. Just a little loose, got some tire scrub. You see the momentum, though. Just getting out of the gas that little bit, how much momentum it cost you. Able to save the car, though, which is the most important. We stay under green here, lap 70. Coming up on halfway, though, this race is cooking through.
It is cooking through, and some drivers fading away. You see that white machine that's behind the battling of Danny Cochran and Ken Campbell. Shane Terrian, one moment, was battling for the lead, was in 2nd place. Now back in 16th position. Just the long run and how much time is lost after beating up those tires just in the first 10 laps and you can see how much that has rippled 71 laps into this race as we're about to crack into the halfway of this race. The 9, it's got a lot of work to get back into the mix here.
A lot of work. One driver I want to talk about as we come up halfway here is the first race. Number 63 in 4th place. I've been watching the lap times. He's slowly getting, he just got it under a second. He was 1.5 about 10 laps ago, and he's got it down. And now it's a back up above 1 second, but it's going to fluctuate as they go in and out of the corners. But slowly making ground. These front 3, they're battling each other. He's just right now running his race. Maybe that's able to save his tires just a speck here. And before you know it, he's going to bring a 4th car into this race, and it's going to be really interesting when he gets up there.
63 of Bryson Hixenbaugh, debut race for the WSSR Cup Series, and after a couple of drivers leaving, to see one come in and be so strong, this is exciting news for, I think, the field. The fact that we've been clean and green for half of this race so far, and one of the new drivers that just hopped in is as strong as the 63 is, as Bryson's catching up, still battling. For second is going to be Benjamin Nelson and Zach Hall, and the rest of the field get a little bit more spaced out. And now I'm going to be thinking about, okay, when do we truly need to come to pit road? Again, a lot of drivers are aiming for that lap 80 marker, or even going to be aiming to pit around lap 78. So that's going to be our window to watch out for. 78 to 80 is our window for pit stops, and we're just about 4 laps away from that beginning.
Just getting really close to it. We're seeing this battle here. Cedric Hunter moving up to 7th position. He was running 9th not too many laps ago, so he's found a little bit of speed out there. He has it under 3 seconds. He could be one to watch for. We know you mentioned earlier he had this track circled. He's showing everything right now through the first half of this race that he has every potential to get up there and drive with these guys in the top 3 and 4 positions. Only 3 seconds back, not too far, Sam. Any mistake up front from these guys and they check up, he's going to be right there with them as we're now halfway.
Also seen in front, John Forbes and Brian McCann trying to make their way forward. 2 previous champions of series that we've covered here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Brian McCann, winner of the Full Set Racing Series that we used to cover on Tuesday nights, and John Forbes, the most recent champion of the ISRC Truck Series, up to 6th and 5th are the both of those drivers, and trying to figure out how do you keep on moving forward. Still in I would say, pretty good distance, about 2.5 seconds away from the leader of Ryan Kelly, and they're all trying to figure out where do we need to place ourselves on the next pit stop and the one after that to maybe have a chance to fight for this win.
Yeah, that's going to be key. You're going to see some of these guys potentially do an undercut here really soon. It could start happening. As we see, looks like the Ace getting ready to pit. He is, Sam. He's going to bring it in, get it down under 55 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, get it slowed up, get in there. He's going to be one of the first drivers to hit pit road. We saw this. We saw him do it the previous run, and he came out with the lead. So now we're going to have to see if he's going to be our first driver to retake the lead from doing this undercut.
And as well, Bryson and the 63 machine hits pit road with the 8. So we got 2 drivers going with this early pit stop. And again, you got to think about the math of, will you have enough fuel from this point to make another pit stop and make it to the end of this race? You got to be thinking about those numbers as more drivers hit pit road up front. It's going to be Zach Hall, Douglas Newbegin, as well as Cedric Hunter, Nick Crawford, and plenty of others. Pit road, it's busy, it's lap 78, and a lot of drivers getting ready for this pit cycle.
It's going to get busy on track. We saw it busy on pit road, but we saw it busy out on track too as Brandon Colley got a little sideways coming out of the corner. Saw the puff of smoke. He did a great job saving that car, able to carry it on, not really lose any speed going down that front straightaway, but that was a moment right there.
It certainly was. Christopher Norris, Brandon Colley, they've been around one another for the majority of the race. 38 machine trying to make the push forward as Isaiah Sutherland having a good run on the outside. Again, one of those drivers with the end of the line penalty to start this race off. In pit road, Christopher Norris, and he saw in the back, that's the 98 of Ben Keeney hitting pit road. Still out front, I think a shocker. Ryan Kelly giving up so much time, continues to stay out. I'm curious if the 3 is going to come in this time around. Does not. The 3 continues to stay out. Looks like lap 80 is the window for the 3 of Ryan Kelly.
That's a great point you bring up. He was one of our drivers that pitted earlier in that first run. This one choosing to stay out longer. That could be exactly what you mentioned, though. If he stays out longer now, the next run, he's able not to have to go as long on that final run on tires. So it is something that he might be thinking forward down the road. Does he want to maybe go 4 or 5 laps longer this time to be able to give up that sacrifice on the next run as he still goes past pit road entrance this time by?
continues to stay out. Gutsy call by the three machines as well. Larry Yingling not wanting to give up any more time. Shane Terrian, Brian P. Johnson. Hey, these drivers know we can still push out the fuel pretty far out. Might as well continue to stay out until we run out of fuel, just in case a caution comes out. Yet to see one so far. Last time that these drivers went caution-free at Las Vegas was back in Season 3. As is possible, I think these drivers up front recognize, hey, if a caution does come out, we want that track position, but Ryan Kelly can't wait no more. 3 into pit road.
3 into pit road, using up all the commitment lines there. That was really interesting. He was so fast coming in. It's just such a great job. That's what was great to watch right there. As you see now, Larry Yingling taking over the lead, getting those laps led. That's exactly what he wants. Get some bonus points. See if he comes in this time by. I'm thinking he doesn't want to give up any more time out there unless they're on a different kind of strategy. But we see Bryson Hixenbaugh going to go underneath him, which might make Larry not be able to get to pit road that lap, Sam.
Hixenbaugh going to stay to the inside. Yingling stays out for another lap, and Yingling can stay out for another lap or two before they're forced into pit road. Shane Terrian also looks to be staying out with the likes of Cody Reed. Cody Reed, again, the driver that stayed out the longest of everyone. The 52 continues to go with that strategy, and for Cody Reed, he can still stay out there for another about 3 more laps if 52 wanted to.
Yeah, Cody Reed, we saw him do this at Indy. It looks like 67 might be pitting this lap by, but we saw Cody Reed do that at Indy, and it almost worked out really well for him. He was running that fuel strategy perfect. Larry Yingling getting it slowed down now, getting his pit stop done. We're going to have to keep an eye on him, see how much time he loses, though, Sam.
Shane Terrian sticking with the 3-time champ, Larry Yingling. Cody Reed, though, able to stay out for another lap. As the drivers that have already made their pit stops, where do they loom currently? Well, it's going to be Bryson Hixenbaugh who leads the way. The 63 currently in 4th place, about to move up to 2nd, and leading all drivers that have already come to pit road. As Cody Reed over the radio having a little bit of a scare there off of 2. And setting up for his chance to hit pit road either this time or the next, but he's seeing the scare and the major speed difference as Cody Reed once again aggressively enters pit road.
Wow, these guys they're just getting so aggressive on pit road. It's really impressing me. It just looks like they're flying out there and they just turn left and get it slowed down in time. But we're seeing our eventual leader coming out of the corner. He's going to take it probably before he gets to the line. He's going to lead his first lap in his debut race. Bryson Hixenbaugh gets it. Looks like he got that lap led in time. Hey, he's got a 1.5 second lead over Brian McCann and Zach Hall in 3rd. This is going to be shaping up to be a really good finish. I'm so excited. This is going to be great.
We're excited for it again. One more pit stop expected here tonight before this race is over. The drivers are aiming around that 120 marker is the time that they're going to hit pit road, or could it be sooner than that? We'll have to find out as we will take another commercial break here tonight. Thank you so much for joining with us on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You're watching the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series. Here's your top 5. It's Bryson Hixenbaugh, Brian McCann, Zach Hall, Brian Nelson, and Douglas Newbigging. Your top 5 currently. We'll be back right after this for more racing action at Las Vegas. Thank you. We'll see you in a few.
They're 5 wide behind for 5th. Oh my, they're 5 wide here. This ain't gonna work. They make it last. Bumping and banging to the end. They're beating banging for the lead. Sora still with the shot here, coming off a 4. That's it.
It's bottom line, here it comes. I know Carter gets run. It's gonna be that Nick Crawford. The 74 gets through somehow, and they just completely demolish one another. Trying to drive it down low, drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes, Cedric Hunter. He steals it.
But he
somehow drove it into the corner to wreck it.
Oh, they wrecked! They wrecked each other! The top two bounced into one another. Just too much of side drifting off of, and they gotta be careful. Oh no, the 4 demolishes in the 28. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name's Sam Dyer. With me up in the booth is Justin Malarkey, and running productions is Robert Moyer. You're watching the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series, Race 7 at Las Vegas. It's been a good one so far, as it feels like we're kind of back in the swing of things of what WSSR was like last season, where the drivers have been able to stay clean, green, and it's been down to pitch strategies. We've seen a lot of different drivers scooting forward and back. Currently, it's the newcomer debut race of Bryson Hicksonbaugh that leads the way after his second pit stop of the night. Zach Hall and Brian McCann battle side by side for second, and as they continue to battle on, we got to say thank you to our amazing sponsors here this evening that have helped out throughout the season. Starting off with Colley's Mom, thank you for being our qualifying sponsor, and Roasted Gems Coffee. Roasted Gems Coffee, talking about all their different blends they have. They also have different merch lines of clothing and more. So if you need to bundle up during this winter season with all that Arctic storms going through the United States, hey, why not go get yourself some merch from Roasted Gems Coffee? And remember to use the promo code WSSR for 5% off on your purchases. Elevate your coffee experience with Roasted Gems Coffee. And Trophy Smack. Trophy Smack can help you find yourself your next trophy if you're needing one for a special event, or if you want to honor somebody in a kind way or a not so kind way. You can find yourself with some great trophy designs from Trophy Smack. From championship belts, rings, trophies, and more. Hey, you can find it all on TrophySmack.com. Remember to use the promo code WSSRCUP. That's WSSR Cup for 10% off on your next order. Thank you so much to our amazing sponsors that have helped us out so far. We've lost 3 drivers here tonight, being Brad Delph, Alex Chase, and Christopher Wade. Currently on the lead lap, we got 25 drivers at the moment, and it's all Bryson Hicksonbaugh leading the charge at this time. This is being ran down by Zach Hall, and looking at these different battles, Justin, it has been a great race. We've been talking about during our commercial break. This is some classic racing that we're seeing that NASCAR used to produce in those early 2000s.
Yeah, it's been so exciting. I mean, this is a race where we don't know who's going to win this race. We don't even have an idea. We know it might come from the top 5, but we don't know. It's just been such a great race to watch, and the different strategy and the long green run we're having here. We don't want to jinx it, but we also are thinking maybe if we talk about it enough, it'll cancel out the jinx here, Sam.
Yeah, there are many different ways that we try. You know, there's we can try praying, we can try crossing our fingers, knocking on wood. There's plenty of different rituals you could try to break this curse, but it's great racing that we have on screen. Johnny Gruggs, big slide. Other drivers that have had some massive slides, second, third, and fourth, all slid in unison about a lap ago off the exit of turn 2. And you're seeing a lot of mixtures on drivers deciding when to come into pit road, which with staying in a green flag run, 3 pit stops these drivers have to make here tonight. That difference of strategy is what's keeping these drivers in these clumped up groups. The Shane Terrian trying to get by Nick Crawford, as well as the 2 of Danny Cochran closing in. And it's all about that exit speed. Can you get a big enough run to attempt to pass? Or can you just trust follow behind a driver that's moving quicker and let that driver kind of be your spearhead to cut through a pack. And it looks like as Shane Tarrant being that spearhead and Danny Cochran wants to follow suit, same for Kyle Heath and Ken Campbell trying to move forward as Nick Crawford staying on the high side. And this is a very different Las Vegas race than what the 74 had last season. Last season got the pole. Here tonight, he is stuck in the middle of the field.
Got the pole last time, but tonight not able to get that pole and get out and get that clean air. So we saw the two just get underneath them and try and complete that pass, and all of a sudden they kind of just started sliding up the hill. They got really close together, but they stayed off one another. But it just shows right there, this view. You can see how the right rear of the car is kind of pointed out because these cars are just driving so much that it just lets that rear end even hanging out loose as old school driving, as we talked about. You're kind of driving off those rear wheels a little bit, kind of like old school NASCAR. It just makes it so fun. You just get out there and you really got to wheel up on this. But we're going to have a battle up front really soon. We talked about Hixenbaugh getting the lead. He did come in a little bit early, but man, those guys in second, third, and fourth are starting to slowly wheel them in. It's going to be another battle like we saw. But Sam, we're at lap 101. At lap 107, that could be the window to make it into our field if you do decide to pit. If anyone decides to come in extremely early, get the fresh rubber, and see on that strategy, that's something we're going to be right here with pit stops really soon if someone goes that route.
Yeah, and the big thing is if you try to go for that crazy pit stop, a major undercut, which an undercut's when you hit sooner than the driver ahead of you, if you go for that undercut, you are in a very risky spot, mainly because you're going to be going a lap down for one. Two, if you pit sooner, could just start the train a little bit sooner for when drivers hit pit road. And you might not get that advantage you were hoping for of pitting, 5-10 laps sooner than the rest of the field and really build up that gap that you were hoping for. Some of these drivers have gotten the lead after a pit stop have had that 2-lap advantage over our leaders, 2 to 3 laps. And Bryson Hixenbaugh certainly is working out currently. He's got some help of the 22 of Joshua Corner, who's 4 laps down, going to be the buffer driver between the 63 and Benjamin Nelson in second. Yeah, Nelson, a driver that has found a lot of success here at WSSR, got the championship last season and won this race last season. 79 wants to go back-to-back and find himself becoming a 3-time winner this season, not just stopping the streak of 5 races, 5 different winners, but trying to shatter it to go back-to-back-to-back and win 3 in a row.
But to do that, he's going to have to erase the 7/10th lead that Bryson Hixenbaugh has over him. Something he might have to do to erase that lead is maybe do that undercut. The one advantage to being second is you could pit before the leader, obviously, but the leader could also decide to just go in and maybe throw a curveball into your plans. But as so far we've seen tonight, it seems like second place has always been pitting before the leader, and we're going to be finding out shortly as drivers are getting into that window where they could start opening up a pit stop.
Where do you want to place yourself? Where are you going to feel the most comfortable? As drivers are all making their decisions on where to finish out this race. Still one more pit stop to go. There's a few drivers, though, of note I want to point out. That being Douglas Newbigin, Isaiah Sutherland, and Brian P. Johnson. Furthest ahead of those 3 drivers is in 7th place. It's the 7th machine of Douglas Newbigin. Started at the end of the line at a L1 penalty after ARCA braking for some, too many incidences for others, and had to make the march from all the way back in 32nd position up to inside of the top 10. That's exactly where we find the 7 of Douglas Newbigin. What a run for himself to be up to 7th. That is incredible to see. And then Brian P. Johnson up to 11th in the 14 of Isaiah Sutherland inside of the top 20. After how tough we've seen this track be, the many pit stops, there's still a lot of racing still to go. But kudos to those drivers the way they've had to recover here tonight after starting off with that penalty.
Yeah, really kudos to all 3 of them. That's impressive. The one that really stood out, what you said, Douglas Newbigin, I mean, he had the penalty, so that's so unfortunate from the mistake from last week. But if he could have just got any qualifying lap in, Sam, maybe even 15th or 20th, just to be able to have 10 or 15 spots extra, be closer. He's only 4.4 seconds back, but to be able to come through the field, pass all those cars with no cautions. We have to remind anyone who's just tuning in, this is caution free, no competition caution, no yellow at all, no chance to get back up there. He's done this all under green. I mean, he could be right up there battling with the leaders if he was able to get a qualifying lap in.
He really could, and right now we're seeing Isaiah Sutherland again. Started at the end of the line, now in 18th position, battling with Cameron Sarton, which Sarton also in his own right, had to recover, got into the outside wall early in the race, and fell from being inside of the top 15 to last place in 30 at a time, and now moves up into 17th. So seeing drivers getting that recovery run that they were hoping for, and as we've been giving our shout outs to the drivers trying to make their march back forward, one driver went with your strategy throughout there, Justin. Brandon Colley has hit pit road a lap ago. He is the only driver that came into pit road right when the pit window opened, and the one's back in 27th position, and he's got to hope to get back on the lead lap, and hope as well that those leaders stay out as long as possible.
Yeah, oh no, he got a little loose there, Sam. Wow, he just those brand new tires going out there ripping it, and maybe a little cold on the tires, and he just got a little sideways going through 1 and 2. Didn't really lose too much speed, but did heat them up. Not exactly what you want to have happen when you have the fresh rubber on there, but we'll see. He's got it under control now. Just going to get out there, log those laps, and try and get this lead when these other guys come in and make their pit stops.
I mean, trying their best. The best of this field can really recover back and forth. For some, they got to throw out a gamble, and for Brandon Colley, he is certainly gambling it so far. I know people that are in the chat want us to move away from the one machine, so we'll do so. We'll talk about some other drivers that are trying to go on the charge, as we see Ollie Fonseca and James Heater having their own battle. This is for 21st position for the 24 and the 18. Haven't really talked about Ollie that much here tonight. He was one of those drivers that has shown a lot of speed this season here this evening. Hasn't really been there on the strategy calls for the 24 just yet this evening.
Yeah, at a race like today, strategy is definitely really important. We're seeing the guys up front really hit on their strategy, doing those undercuts, getting a couple positions gained, but then most importantly, not giving up that track position later on. But Ollie right now, he's just doing what he needs to do. He's still, I mean, he's running, like you mentioned, top 20, just trying to log these laps. He wants to get back in that top 16 in points. Earlier on, we showed him, I believe he was 18th, if memory served me correctly. So just having a nice night, being able to hopefully get those points and get those positions back and move it forward up into the top 16.
Yeah, Ollie Fonseca started in 18th. James Heater starting in 19th. And it's the start of the pit cycle. Drivers hitting pit road. Shane Terry and Douglas Newbigging of the drivers that were inside of our top 10 hitting pit road and starting the cycle. And, you know, we were expecting maybe some drivers were going to stay out until lap 120. Others said it's go time. Lap 113 is it for Terrian and Newbigging. And over the radio, Bryson Hixenbaugh says, I'm not going to wait any longer. I'm hitting pit road as well.
I like that strategy. Doesn't want to risk letting anyone get in front of him. This way he could run his race. His goal right now, he wants to come out as the leader once the cycle's through. But other guys are going to have all different strategies in play here. So right now, Benjamin Nelson has a 2/10 lead over Ryan Kelly, who was our leader for a while there. But right now, we're going to see if these guys come in this lap. Looks like they're still going to go full throttle through this corner. I don't see anyone checking up yet.
Over the radio, into pit road, Benjamin Nelson as well as Ryan Kelly. The race to enter into the pit entry, excuse me, as I thought for a second one of them was going to caught speeding with how aggressive they were pouncing into the line, but both going to be okay. And this is what we call the money stop. This is the last stop of the race, potentially for these drivers. Cannot afford any mistakes. Don't get caught speeding on entry, speeding down your lane. Don't slide through your box. Those are critical mistakes that could cost you time and positions if you're not careful. And drivers still out on track. Larry Yingling, Brian P. Johnson, Kyle Heath, Nick Crawford, Cameron Sarn, Isaiah Sutherland still out there with James Heater and Cody Reed. Rest of the field just got done with their service, and it's go time for the end of this race.
See the battle. We saw it going in. We saw it leaving out. Nelson beats him out, but Ryan Kelly did a great job of gaining just that little car length or two on pit road. Sam, those guys were going so fast. I didn't think they were even going to pit anymore, and then before you know it, they're going down pit road. Wow, that was really impressive. We've seen it all night. We're on board right here. Brian P. Johnson running second position. See if he's going to come in this time by. No, he's going to continue going. Another lap for him. Maybe trying to get a lead lap if he's able to get by Larry Yingling before pit stops. Before he has to pit, he's trying to get that bonus point too.
Trying to move forward and also giving a good showing of right on board. 35 lap old tires compared to just 2 lap old tires, and the absolute blitzing that the drivers that have fresher rubber are able to do, just, you know, making it feel like you're stuck in molasses, not able to get moving at all. As there goes the 3, and Brian P. Johnson, no word over the radio, no word over the chatter, continues to stay out. Other drivers have made the call. Al Heath into pit road, and a few others thinking, okay, let's stay out a little bit longer. Main thing, this is the last pit stop. If you stay out as long as possible and you catch that caution, you could be back in the mix and a chance to win here tonight.
Yeah, you just stole what I was going to talk about. I love that you brought that up. If a caution does come out now for Brian P. Johnson, he's going to pit, obviously, but so is everyone else who just pitted 5 or 6 laps ago. We know how important tires are. They have the extra sets to use. They're not going to risk, as it looks like he's going to come in right now, Sam. I'm going to throw it to you. Let him bring it down pit road with you.
Not going to be waiting any longer. Brian P. Johnson gets set up and prepared for this next run. And the Season 1 champion of the WSSR found himself getting his win to start the season off at Daytona, and really the top dog of the season so far, leading in points and now into pit road for himself. But the driver that's got more championships than Brian and more championships than anyone else in WSSR, it's Larry Yingling. Still out there on track, and Larry looking for his first win this season. 67 showing pace. He's battled for the lead early on in this race. The strategy calls and the usage of the tires have been what's hurting the 67. He needs some luck, needing a caution with 30 laps to go.
30 laps to go, but we've seen this race just stay green all day. We've heard some of the drivers chatting over the radio saying they wanted a debris caution. They want that chance to get caught back up. But the guys who are leading, they say, no, keep it green. We got our strategy decided. We know what we're doing. Who is it going to be, Sam? We got under 30 to go. What are you thinking?
I mean, drivers certainly are mixed and mingled all around, but I got to say, you brought it up. Bryson Hixenbaugh looks quick, and you were looking at the numbers of the 63. I got to say, he is looking very good right now for a chance to win. Still waiting for 3 drivers to hit pit road. Anthony Gaudio, Cody Reed, and Larry Yingling. But, I mean, you were looking at the data during our commercial breaks, Justin, for Hixenbaugh, the rookie, the debut race. What is the 63 doing that's so different from everyone else with 30 laps to go?
It just seems like he knew exactly what he wanted to do strategy-wise, and it just works for him. It seems like every time he's been consistently pitting about 1 lap before majority of the field. And it just gets him, every time he did that, he was getting around a couple cars, and then he was able to hold them off. That was the other important thing. He had the speed. And then on this last pit stop, something that was really impressive is he didn't give those other guys a chance to undercut him. He chose to go in. He stuck to his strategy. He knew when he wanted to pit. He didn't risk letting the guys behind him go in and get that tires and go out there 1-2 seconds faster and get around him, and then him have to battle by them. So he's really put himself out in a really great position. I know Nelson's got about 1, maybe 2 laps better tires than him, but is he going to be able to make up a second and a half?
Second and a half is a lot of work. Slowly chipping away is Nelson as more drivers hit pit road, as Cody Reed is still out there on track, waiting until the very last moment hit pit road. I like the strategy call by the 52, who was battling outside of the top 20. Might as well try a gambling call for yourself as drivers get prepared for the end of this race. It is all going to be Bryson Hixenbaugh leading the way. Then you got Benjamin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Zach Hall, and Cedric Hunter, who should be the 5th place runner once we see Cody Reed hit pit road. And 13's been chipping away ever so slightly to move forward. As the middle of the field, some of the bigger movers so far here tonight actually is Kent Campbell in the 15, done a great job, up 12 positions, and is our biggest mover so far in 13.
That's a great job for Ken Campbell. He's a really fast driver. Every week we see it, and we see him moving back up through the field tonight. You mentioned Cedric Hunter. He's shown speed every pit stop. He's slowly moving up as well. The difference might be maybe in the beginning he was expecting, he ran this league all year. We know how many cautions there was. He might have just said, I'm going to take it a little easy in the beginning, maybe not push too hard, risk getting in an accident. We know it'll probably be a caution. And you know what? There's no cautions. And then we think of the new guy coming in, Bryson Hixenbaugh. He might not know what this league is all about yet. He just knows, hey, I'm going to go in and I'm going to race my strategy. And he just went from it from the beginning. And that could be the difference in 3 or 4 seconds on track.
I mean, we're talking about the caliber of this league, and coming into last season, it got raised with more drivers entering, such as the likes of Benjamin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Douglas Newbiggie. They joined the fray of the previous champions and previous, veterans of the WSSR. And I mean, for Bryson Hixenbaugh right now, he's running a race where you could say he's in the comfort zone of saying, I thought this league was going to be a little bit tougher. Maybe it isn't as tough as he thought it was going to be. It has been a pleasure to watch these drivers trying their best, and maybe we just need a little bit of new life as Cody Reed hits pit road, gifting the lead to the 63 of Hixenbaugh. Now it's down to who can run down the 63 machine, and with Benjamin Nelson in second place, slowly trying to inch his way forward. Some of the other close battles that are going on track is this battle on screen. For 11th place, it's Brian Nelson, and Danny Cochran as the 28 leans for the pass as he tries to get by the 2 machine. And Ken Campbell, he's not done with just moving up 13 spots. It looks like he wants another one.
Yeah, he wants 2 more positions. He's got them in his sights. We're going to see right here if he's able to do anything. He's just going to send it down in there or get down to that bottom, able to get all the way to the bottom. You see the 2 guys in front of him not able to get to the bottom. You see what happens coming out of the corner. He just carries that momentum, gets in the draft, right, staying right there behind him, getting in the draft, sucking it up down the straightaway, getting all that speed he can, and right now turns it right down to the bottom, Sam. This is a good-looking driving car right now. Look at that, gets it right to the bottom underneath, going to come out even with them down the back straightaway.
And into the drag strip of backstretch as Danny Cochran, the better momentum on the outside lane, but the grip, give it to the 15. You can just see it on the entry. Danny Cochran has to get slightly aggressive at the center of the corners where Ken Campbell's been the faster driver. Exit where the 2 can defend the best that he can, but wasn't as clean as Danny Cochran wanted. They'll stay equal down into turn number 1. And this battle will continue on again for 12th place. For the lead, it was about a second and a half at one moment between Bryson Hixenbaugh and Benjamin Nelson. The tire difference is just 1 lap. And now we are down to a half a second is the difference between the rookie debut driver Bryson Hixenbaugh and Benjamin Nelson, last season's champion. Nelson wanting to prove that he's still the top dog, not wanting to let the rookie just sweep away with his first debut race with the W. And it is coming down to 20 laps to go. And Justin, this is the type of racing we've been waiting for all season long. It's time for the best of the best to show up. For 130 laps, we've been clean and green, and now 20 to go here at Las Vegas.
20 to go, we've been treated to such a great race. We got Hixenbaugh, we got Hixenbaugh, and we got Nelson out there just putting on such a great show. Ryan Kelly, though, who led a ton of laps, 1.6 seconds back. Zach Hall, 2.2. We know how much speed he had in the beginning. Douglas Newbigging, 4.2 seconds back. He had to start all the way in the back, but drove it right up there. Really, he's really wishing that he was able to get a chance to qualify. He could be putting on a show. I can't wait to talk to him later on. Hopefully he's able to get in the top 3 and we're able to hear from him, Sam, because that's just such an impressive run. Just no cautions, moving all the way up there. But guys everywhere in this top 10 field that we've talked about all night, Shane Therian, 8th. We saw him charge to the front in the beginning of this run. In the beginning of this race, got all the way up to 2nd, not able to get to the lead. But just these drivers have been putting on a race, coming and going all throughout the night. Just a fantastic evening.
Yeah, and being passed by drivers that have had some troublesome nights. Brian Noel, and also saw there Chris Stitz as they were struggling. Shane Terrian being pressured by the 11 of John Forbes, and Forbes on the outside lane looking good. And for John Forbes, gonna have that 1 lap advantage over Shane Terrian and trying to make that outer lane, have that extra pace and speed, and able to just descend it into the corner at turn 1. You just see the fact that the 11 a little bit more aggressive here in this run, but I think also Shane Terrian, just those tires, they are not feeling as smooth or comfortable 20 laps into this run.
No, not feeling like he wants it probably, but what we are seeing up front, don't want to get away from all these battles here, but up front he has it under 5/10. You mentioned before it was 6/10, it's almost 4/10. I mean, he's in that draft on the straightaways, he's going to get that speed. Right now, Hixenbaugh is going to have to decide, is he going to go high, low, middle, behind me, so he can also maybe throw that dirty air. We see right now Nelson's going to get to the bottom, and so is Hixenbaugh going to run the bottom both through turns 3 and 4, but Nelson, I mean, to get up there, what do you think he's going to have to do? Maybe run some of that high line like we've seen and try and get that run down the straightaway, and then maybe fake to the inside, fake to the outside, try and play some mind games.
I think right now, I think Benjamin Nelson's already done what his plan was. Protect the tires in this early run. Make Hixenbaugh have to kind of use those tires a little bit more than what the 79 was doing. And now in this later stage of the race, just allow the track and the car to come to him. And Benjamin Nelson is doing just that. Each lap chipping away ever so slightly, not trying to use up the tires too much, and keeping himself in touch with the lead driver. And now 4/10 the difference that go around that last lap. It was Hixenbaugh that was slightly faster, and I think for Nelson, he can afford. He can give up a 10th or 2, protect those tires for 2, 3, maybe even 5 laps, and then go attack mode for the final 10.
go attack mode. 15 to go. We've seen this be a 3, 4, 5 car battle at times, but now it's dropped down to 2 cars. Ryan Kelly now 1.7 seconds back. I think it's going to be a 2-car race unless these two up here get to battling and they're side by side, and that might allow Ryan Kelly and Zach Hall to maybe get up there, even Cedric Hunter back in 5th. But right now looking like a 2-car race coming into these final 14 laps as they are ticking by fast. We're going to be under 10 to go before we know it.
And also, got to be looming, how is lap traffic going to influence this race? Brian Noel is catching up on the 77, freshest tires than those around. The 77 is right behind Benjamin Nelson, and Nelson wants to continue to run clean laps, but if he gets pressured with the 77 on that rear end, that can lose a little bit of that aero that he's looking for to protect the rear ends, and get a little bit looser if Nelson gets a little bit too close, or will Nelson just let him race? And it looks like for that of Noel, he's going to stay high, let the 77 try to set up for this pass. And this is getting frisky because also Cody Reed, who's got the freshest tires of anyone on track, is catching up to our leaders as well. It's not going to be a clean one-on-one battle for our leaders. It's Nelson versus lap cars, allowing Hicksonball to pull away.
Yeah, as you see Cody Reed now, he's going to get probably to Nelson before 77 does. This is really not what Nelson wants to see. Hicksonball's loving it. As we see Hicksonball maybe get up in the wall there, Sam, it looked like a little puff of smoke as he got into that corner. If you saw it right there live, it did look like he got into that wall just ever so slightly. As Nelson's still dealing with those lap cars, but this is going to be a fantastic finish.
Nelson's got to be fuming in that cockpit due to the fact that he's, Nelson caught up. Nelson's not making the pass. He continues to loom on the rear bumper. Cody Reed's going to help out with putting the pressure on our leader, but will the 52 even try to go for the pass, or will he just stay in line? And this is just going to hurt Benjamin Nelson more and more because Cody Reed is just stalling out. He's not able to make the pass just yet. With 11 laps to go, lap cars, there's going to be even another one that they have to get by on top of being passed by them.
Yeah, this is not what Nelson wants to see. He's got dirty air from Reed in front of him. He's got the lap car right behind him, throwing some curveballs up in the mirror. Not what you want to see coming to under 10 to go here, but Hicksonball is able to keep those lap cars behind him, which is really important because he's not going to have any of that dirty air. But as you say, the laps tick by. Now he's catching another car in front of him. We're going to have 5 cars under a blanket here, 2 of them being the top 2.
Being the top 2, the others, drivers that are trying to get their lap back, others are trying to get one of multiple laps back for themselves, and it is getting down to where do you place yourself. Cody Reed looks like he'll be taking the outside lane. This is going to be helping Benjamin Nelson, staying side by side, killing the momentum. It's now down to 3/10 is Benjamin Nelson, and he goes on the apron. It's almost less than 2/10 as they enter turn 1.
Yeah, that entry coming out of turn 4, Hicksonball was not able to drive it to the outside. He had to hold up that car just a little bit. It allowed Nelson to get it under 4/10. It's 0.316. It is so close, under 3 now, 0.283. I mean, he's there. We don't even tell you the times anymore. It's going to be a battle to this. Whoever does not make one mistake at the end is going to win this race, Sam.
Trying to get by lap traffic. Cody Reed back onto the lead lap, getting by Ollie Fonseca, and that's for a position. Ollie Fonseca now under pressure of going a lap down as Bryson Hicksonball, the 63 debut race for the WSSR, trying to hold steady and get the win, go 1 for 1 on his first start, get his first win. One of the best ways you could ask to start your career off in a new league, as Ollie Fonseca stays high, Hicksonball gets tight, and that's going to be killing the momentum for the 63. That's what Benjamin Nelson needs as the 79 gets even closer as they go down into turn number 1. Here we go with 7 laps to go. Nelson's on the back bumper as they go through 1 and 2.
He's not always able to clear coming out of the corner. I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to keep that momentum, but he does. That was so important. That's exactly what he needed to be able to clear that car and able to keep that momentum. Now he's able to put the pressure on the 63. He wants that 63 to really start mirror driving. Hopefully he's going to make him mix the corner. That's what Benjamin Nelson's thinking. But Bryson Hicksonball right now, what he's thinking is, I just want to keep pulling away, dump that dirty air on you, not give you a chance to get to my inside or outside, do any form of side drafting, just keep leading this race. These drivers are on 2 different mindsets right now. It's going to be under 5 to go very shortly. This is going to be a great final 5 laps.
And if these two drivers have any mistake, waiting in the wings, a second and a half back is Ryan Kelly, who just is kind of settled in, staying as far back as he is, allowing these front two to battle as aggressively as they want. And now it's down to 5 laps to go at Las Vegas. This track is just known for bringing out the best here at the WSSR. We've had some of the cleanest, some of the most aggressive passes ever made in the history for a win. And for Benjamin Nelson, will he ruffle the feathers of the rookie on his debut race, or will we see the rookie bring out his elbows and blocks? 5, about to make it 4 laps to go as they exit turn 4.
We're seeing two strong drivers out there. Under 5 laps to go, under 3 minutes to go. This race is flying by. It was such a great evening here. Bryson Hixenbaugh coming out of nowhere. We didn't know what to expect from him, but now we know what to know going forward. Can't wait to see him throughout the rest of the season. But right now, he's going to try and hold off Nelson every way he can. Just right now, he's running the bottom, not giving Nelson really any options other than maybe to go high and try and get some momentum coming out of the corner. As we see Nelson still running that bottom right now, though.
Bryson Hixenbaugh was that of 16th during practice in top speed, then qualified 9th. Currently, with 3 laps to go, leads here tonight, beating currently the last season's champion of Benjamin Nelson. And Nelson off the exit of turn 2. He's starting to lose touch just ever so slightly, trying to maximize his speed. But I think the lap cars both helped and also hindered the 79 on trying to make the moves. There was just too much time that he was giving up on his rubber. And now with 2 laps to go, Bryson Hixenbaugh, there's a little bit of traffic that they're closing in. I don't think it's going to be a factor, nor do I think it's going to be anyone behind. All you have to do is hold back the previous champion of that of Benjamin Nelson.
Holding off the champion, so hard to do, but right now he's doing what he needs to. We're seeing him, I think he's really running right where he needs to. He's running that bottom, maybe sometimes a lane up, trying to dump that dirty air on Nelson, but Nelson's just right there. Any mistake from Hixenbaugh, Nelson's going to get alongside him. He's got a great run down this front straightaway. He's going to use the apron, trying to do everything he can to make this race any shorter on the track.
As we are officially into the white flag, and here we go. Sponsored by Roasted Gems Coffee. Go get your coffee today from Roasted Gems. Off the exit of turn 2, it's a battle for the win. There's some lap traffic ahead. It's going to be Ben Keeney. Will he stay out of the way as the drivers go down into turn number 3? Nelson to the quarter panel, but Hixenbaugh blocks. Hixenbaugh with the run. Nelson to the quarter panel. Lap car slows down to 63 for a second. Nelson can't get below. 1 race, 1 win. The debut for Bryson Hixenbaugh. The 63 gets the win at Las Vegas.
What a finish. You saw Nelson, he had a chance to get underneath that quarter panel, just wasn't able to do it. But wow, what a finish. I thought they were going to become side draft into the corner. Just Nelson could not hold that throttle coming out of the corner and keep that momentum up. But this is going to be a thing of the season to watch for the rest of these races. Looks like these two could be putting on really good battles for us throughout this season.
I think the one thing that we got to say that we're excited for is that Benjamin Nelson, you have a threat now. It's not going to be a walk in the park this season for that 79. He's got a rookie that is showing out. First race, first win, and this just makes it more exciting for moving forward because now Bryson Hixenbaugh, his new goal, get in the top 25 in points. He could find himself racing for a championship and making the playoffs. And congratulations, that 63 machine. I cannot wait to talk to Bryson and get his thoughts on that race. And for us, as you get to, we will step away. When we come back, we'll talk to our top 3 and a spotlight driver, get their thoughts on tonight's race. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show of the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series. Race 7 is in the books at Las Vegas. One race, one win, as we send ourselves to victory lane to talk to Bryson. Bryson, your debut race, and you find yourself in a victory lane. It's Sam and Justin up in the booth. Congratulations on this win, man. How are you feeling after that one?
Thanks, guys. I'm feeling pretty good here. I was looking for a Gen 4 league for a while, and I was glad to find this one, and that I was able to join today's race. Had a lot of fun out there. That was a really, really great battle at the front all race that I was a part of.
Bryson, this is Justin up in the booth. Congratulations. You put on such a great, exciting race. We were enjoying the heck out of it. We learned so much about you tonight as a driver. So please tell the viewers, what else can we expect from you from the rest of the league, rest of the season? Do you prefer the 1.5 mile tracks? Are you a short track ace? Are you just all around as talented as obviously we saw tonight? Let us know.
Yeah, I definitely prefer the bigger tracks. I think at short tracks, I kind of get the tendency to wait for a little bit and then just tear off my tires. But I feel like I got a little bit more patience at these bigger tracks, and that paid off tonight.
It certainly did pay off for yourself, Bryson. And after this win, I was talked about it right after you crossed the line. I mean, now it's kind of the goal bit inside of the top 25 in points, and you'll find yourself with a chance to make the playoffs. What is it like for these next couple of tracks? We're heading to Legacy, Michigan, Pocono, and then a mystery track. We're still trying to figure out what's going to take over for Martinsville. But what are your thoughts for these at least upcoming 2 tracks?
Yeah, I definitely feel pretty good about Michigan. Pocono is not one of my favorite tracks, so I'll have to go in there and see how that goes. But I feel like just clicking off some more good runs can help me get into these playoffs, and Michigan will definitely be a good way to do that.
Well, we cannot wait to see what else you're going to bring out here this for this season in WSSR. Congratulations on your win. And before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, well, I just like to shout out you guys for putting on this broadcast, and I'll be going back to watch it to see how everything unfolded.
Oh, we cannot wait for your opinions on how you thought it could have gone a little bit better, but a win is a great one to take for yourself, Bryson. Enjoy this one. Can't wait to see how you perform next week at Michigan.
Thank you, guys.
Well, from victory lane, we go down to second place, where we talk to the driver that got the championship
Okay.
last season. And sorry for taking you away from that, Ben, but congratulations on second place, almost stealing the win there late. Man, how are you feeling after your performance here tonight?
It's pretty good. Really wish I could have got that win, but Bryson really deserved that. He put on like an excellent performance. He didn't make a mistake, so couldn't quite get there. That send I did in the last couple of corners really stuck better than I thought it did. So, than I thought it would. I was really close to getting that 3 in a row, but I'll take second for sure. It's a whole lot better than finishing 30th, so I'll take it.
Benjamin, congratulations on the second place finish. Bryson obviously was really strong there. And on that last caution, it looked like he came into pit stops. Obviously, he came in 1 lap before you. Were you planning on maybe going in before him, trying to get that undercut and get that lead and then fend him off? Did he just kind of catch you off guard?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I didn't really know when I was gonna pit. I didn't necessarily think I had to undercut him, but I needed to be aggressive on pit entry. I know that. And Ryan and I were almost speeding. I don't know how he didn't speed, but he didn't. So we were both pretty hard on entry there, and it's just about spinning out. Both times I did that almost. But I don't know what I needed. I just needed to be about a 10th or 2 closer. That's really it. Maybe a little more aggressive on pit exit. Maybe would have got me that, but I don't think I could have done much different on the run. We were both just. It's like I think we were saving a little bit until about 15 to go. At least I was. I started turning it up to try to catch him, and just started overheating the tires a little bit, and that send stuck. And I got close, but I didn't want to turn him. I didn't want to wreck him for that. I had a little bit of gap there, but that's not the way I want to win a race. So I'd much rather him just win clean and us be a basically incident-free race.
Yeah, and incident free. I mean, after coming off of last week, where there was the historic amount of cautions that came out for WSSR to then a caution free race, how does that make you feel as one of the drivers that won the championship last season, and then into this season, kind of a little bit of a rough start, and then you get a performance like this just from the whole entire league.
Yeah, I mean, things happen. It's sometimes leagues get in ruts where people are just frustrated and tempers come out and just people make mistakes, especially at short tracks where it's easy to bump into each other. But this track has always been pretty decent in pretty much every league I'm in. So if it's going to happen, this is one of the places it's going to happen. And we could at least do that. I hope that was fun to watch for you guys because it was certainly interesting. And my wrists are real sore from death gripping that wheel trying to get by him. But I hope you guys had fun watching.
Oh, it was a blast for us, top to bottom. It was great to cover this race, another Las Vegas classic for the WSSR. And Ben, thanks for giving us a great show there late with those late dives. And before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to my Aunt Marilyn. She's watching. All my family, all my coworkers, everybody that supports me. You guys at Freaky Fast for these amazing broadcasts. It's so much fun to go back and watch them. WSSR, the league admins, everybody that participates. This league was great when I entered. It's even better now, especially after this performance. It's really strong. The field is amazing. Bryson came along and he just kicked our butts. So we got some work to do. So it's fun. It's something to look forward to, something to build on. And everybody can take that away from this race. Everyone did really well. So can't say enough about that. It's super good to be in a league that's this clean when we really try.
It was awesome to watch, Ben. Congratulations on second, and good luck next week heading to Legacy, Michigan.
Thank you.
As we move from second place, we go down to third, where we find ourselves with the 3 machine of Ryan Kelly. Ryan, you finished third here tonight. You showed signs of being up front, leading this race at moments. Man, how are you feeling after the performance you just had here this evening?
Yeah, I feel great. Podium finish is always something special with these group of guys, and just happy to come away third. Had some speed early on and thought I could maybe had something for him, but just ran out at the end.
Hey Ryan, it's Justin up there. Congratulations on your third place finish. You led so many laps throughout this race. You had great speed. We saw coming into that final pit stop, you gained a lot of time coming into pits. You did a great job getting in pit road. Is there just anything that you felt like you could have done different to get up there and maybe would you have gone in a couple laps sooner if you could go back in time and maybe try and get that undercut and then hold off Bryson?
Yeah, Justin, I think that's exactly the strategy. It seemed as if the tires were equaling out pretty quick tonight, so it seemed like the guys that went into pit road early on had the advantage because it was pretty hard to pass, but the only real way to pass easily was if the tires were a big difference, and everyone was pretty close tonight. So I think I could have came in a couple laps early, but still happy with a P3.
I mean, Ryan, you're always so consistent when we come to these 1.5-mile tracks. We're expecting big things from you, but this upcoming courses that we have lined up, we're going to the big tracks. We have Legacy, Michigan, Pocono, and I believe Auto Club might be the next replacement for Martinsville. What are your thoughts for these bigger tracks that we're heading in towards?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. Hopefully, some more caution-free races like tonight. There's a great job by all the drivers after the last couple of weeks, and I think this trend will continue with the big tracks, a lot of room, and just the tires will be important, and hopefully I'll be up front.
We hope you'll be up front as well, Ryan. Congratulations on third place, and before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yep, just my teammates tonight, Larry and James, and all the drivers for a great race, and you guys for putting on the show, and all the sponsors of the league. Really appreciate them helping us out this season.
Well, that will be the 3 machine of Ryan Kelly coming away with third. Congratulations, Ryan, and good luck next week.
All right, thanks, gentlemen.
As we move away from our top 3, we go to one of the biggest movers. Now, on our starting qualifying to where they finished here tonight, not as big, but from where they had to start because of the penalty, moving all the way up to 7th place, we got the 7 machine of Douglas Newbigging with us. Douglas, I mean, you probably had one of the toughest tasks of the night. Had to start from the rear of the field, came away with the top 10. Man, how are you feeling after having to work through all that traffic this evening?
Pretty good, honestly. I mean, it's pretty. I'm honestly more shocked that we got caution free. You know, I kind of would have wanted a caution maybe in the middle of it, but I don't know. It was just fun, honestly, just being able to go caution free and just kind of run it out. Just kind of I don't know, getting the pit stops in. I didn't practice pit stop. That was my biggest issue because I knew I was starting in the back, so I was like, oh, you know what, they'll wreck a bunch. You know, we just got them with Kern County, maybe like 1 or 2 wrecks, you know, whatever. So I didn't really practice pitting at all. And of course, we have to do 3 pit stops, and it's like, oh, come on. So that was a little bit of a learning task to do that, but felt like I got decent at it at the end. But yeah, you know, start from the back. When the track was like early on, it was really technical, the track, right? Or at least the long run, it was pretty technical. So I was able to make a ton of moves from people slipping off the bottom. I'd get right around them and whatnot. But as the race went on, you know, the track rubbered up, got a little darker, and it just became like the last run, especially, was just insane how like you could almost go full throttle off the corners like the whole entire run. It was just crazy how like easy it really got, honestly. But that's what really killed my momentum from charging forward, I think, was just kind of everyone bounced off. Like after 15 laps, tires balanced. So I don't know, it was fun though. I had a great time there, hanging out with my teammates, driving through the field, seeing everyone's paint schemes, you know. So
Douglas, Justin up in the booth. Congratulations on finishing 7th after starting back like with the problem from last week. We talked about it a lot throughout the broadcast tonight, how fast you were, and obviously, if you had a chance to qualify, do you think you would have been right up there running in the top 2? Because you seemed like you had the speed. You just came through the field with no cautions, and it was so impressive.
yeah, I mean, I definitely think so. I think like when we pitted originally, I was about like 6 or 5 seconds from the leader on like the first pit stop. So I definitely think I had a shot to get like up there, you know, if I started running good right at the beginning. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I could have done qualifying a little better, which would have got me pole, which that would have been funny, you know, on me from there. But I don't know, just kind of gave me confidence. You know what I mean? Just starting second or qualifying second, it showed like, okay, I could, you know, I'm still fast clean air. So when I do get clean air or whatever, I could just go hammer down. But yeah, definitely, if I started up there, would have been a lot better. And I want to say too, all right, last week, my apologies for causing 4 cautions. I was in a hotel in Baltimore racing on a hotspot data on my phone on a little crappy laptop that I brought with me. So not fun. And my wheel had input lag for some reason because my laptop couldn't handle it. So it's great. Looked my graphics looked like Minecraft, you know. Great setup, let me tell you.
Oh, I've played iRacing on a laptop. It is it is basically Minecraft on a racetrack. It is very interesting. But Douglas, tonight a great performance for yourself. Congratulations on 7th. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shoutouts.
Yeah, man, we got it's been a while since I got interviewed. We got Coastal Tinting. All right, beautiful. If you want your stuff tinted, all right, your windows specifically. They do window tints. That's pretty cool. You know, the sun was kind of bright here in Las Vegas, so we got a nice window tint in the front. Very nice. Not gonna lie. We got No Kid Hungry. Great charity. Roasted Gems Coffee, 15%. Use code Lucky Ducks. One word. Lucky Ducks. We got Shade Designs making this beautiful, by the way, beautiful blue paint scheme. Look at this thing. Oh my gosh, is it good? Lucky Duck Motorsports. Why not Nexus? Turtle on my dashboard. That's cute. Lucky Ducks as well. Rush Gems Coffee. WSSR guys putting this on. Cedric. All those guys putting it on. And then you guys in the broadcast booth, Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You guys are great. Love you guys. Fun to watch the replays always. So, yeah.
Well, that is going to be your 7th place finish here, the 7 at Douglas Newbegin. Congratulations, Douglas, on a great recovery run for yourself. And good luck next week at Legacy, Michigan.
Legacy. Oh.
Yeah, get ready for them bumps.
Yeah, I wish it was, if it was normal Michigan, oh my god, dude, it'd be like, shut the place down for the week, you know, but in Legacy, Michigan, all right, that might be a little more challenging for me. Oh, we'll see.
Well, we're excited to see how you're going to run there, Douglas. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
As we get ourselves done with our interviews, we get ourselves prepared for what's coming up next as our unofficial results for tonight's race. Certainly a wild one. And the first one this season, caution-free from a historic caution-filled race last week. The drivers calmed down. We took away the competition caution. They didn't have to worry about a yellow because it never was thrown. And we got to see a brand new driver find themselves in a victory lane. Let's take a look here. It's Bryson Hicksonbaugh who's going to take the win for the 63. The rookie, the debut, the win. What a way to start out his WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series career. Right behind him is going to be last season's champion Benjamin Nelson. Tried to go 3 back-to-back with 3 wins.
and also winner from last week's Las Vegas race. Wasn't able to continue that on. Third place goes to the 3 of Ryan Kelly. Cedric Hunter with a great run to 4th. Zach called 5th. Those two drivers had a great battle all the way to the end of this race. Brian McCann in 6th. Douglas Newbig in 7th. 8th is John Forbes. Shane Terry in 9th. And finishing out our top 10 is going to be Brian P. Johnson. And Justin, certainly a lot of other drivers that were hoping for better finishes. A couple of them, in the middle of the field. They can't wait for probably other weeks to begin.
Yeah, some of the drivers definitely looking for other racetracks coming up so they can make all their moves. But some of the drivers we want to mention, we talked about Cameron Sarton. We had some of that issues early in the race, but never gave up. Able to come back to 15th. That was super impressive. Danny Cochran right behind him. We saw him with the slide earlier in the race. Still ended up coming back in 16th. But these drivers just want to get these positions and try and stay in the top 16 in points. We know we talked about Ollie Fonseca. He only ended up 23rd, so not going to be the points line he was looking for. Brandon Colley there, 21st. Chris Stitz back in 29th. Brad Delph, early exit for him. And same with Alex Chase, who we mentioned, and Christopher Wade.
Yeah, tough nights for those deeper in the field. But again, new beginnings, taking the old car to an old track, Legacy, Michigan. If you like the smooth racing that Las Vegas can bring, there's a couple of bumps here and there. Well, next week will not be as smooth. It's going to be extremely bumpy. It's going to be a handful. We cannot wait for it. But also, upcoming schedules. Last night, we got to show off the Doghouse Raid Cup Series as they had a Daytona 300 fundraiser race for their league and for trophies moving forward for that league. Gives a great preview of what to expect on Thursday nights as their season going to be having the Clash at Nashville Fairgrounds. Going to be January 25th. That's next week. Get ready. New league, new day, Thursday night. Can't wait for it. Then in February, ISRC Truck Series is back for a brand new season on Monday nights, February 12th. Cannot wait for it. I know Justin Malarkey, who's in here with me, he wants to get out there on track. There's a few other drivers that are coming back with the return to the Truck Series that we haven't seen for a while. Tuesdays, we are looking to see if you're wanting to be booked with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Our Tuesdays are free currently, so message us on our socials on Facebook or on X to get our information at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And then right here next week, it's the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series, Legacy, Michigan next week. Going to be a good one, Justin. Cannot wait to see how the drivers are going to tackle that 2-mile course.
Cannot wait to see it. Tonight we saw a great race on a 1.5 mile track. Next week we're going to add a half a mile, 2.0 miles. It's going to be a great race. Might see a lot of what we saw tonight. Great battling, caution-free, potentially great strategy at a big track. 2.0 miles. It's going to be really fun. Glad you mentioned those other broadcasts that you picked up. Hopefully everyone will tune into some of those races too. I am looking forward to doing that Monday night. The great thing about Freaky Fast is we have a bunch of different broadcasters, all different voices on different nights. Some of the drivers race also, so you get to see a mixture of that. It's going to be a great couple weeks coming up here with all these different tracks and leagues starting out.
It's an exciting time here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We cannot wait for it. But for those that were joining with us throughout the evening, thank you for joining with us on your Wednesday evening. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Justin Malarkey, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else from Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for joining with us. Caution free, a new driver, maybe a new era to watch out for. Bryson Hixenbaugh in the 63 machine wins here at Las Vegas right when we start the second half of the regular season. Well, there's a new driver to watch out for. Hopefully the league's ready for it. Next week, Michigan, Legacy, Michigan. Cannot wait for it. It's going to be our next Freaky Fast broadcast. Watch out for it. And as well, next Thursday, new league. Cannot wait for it. What is the Doghouse Racing Cup Series going to have for us? We're excited for the new partnership, and hopefully you are as well. Thank you once again for tonight. We'll see you next Wednesday for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.